as a woman in leadership where you have had to speak under pressure. You felt that under pressure feeling. In this video, we're going to talk about it. Let's talk about what are some strategies that you can use when you are speaking under pressure. And specifically, I'm going to reference the recent controversy that happened at the Miss Universe pageant. I don't know what part of the ceremony they were in, but if you have not seen it, there was a point where the host named Nawat made some unfriendly comments to Miss Mexico. And this is a prime example of how you can learn how to speak under pressure as a woman in leadership. Now, you want to watch this video until the end because I'm going to actually share with you a couple things, and let me try to get myself situated here. Share a few things that will actually help you be able to do this. And if this sounds like something you're interested in, you absolutely want to watch this video until the end. And feel free to subscribe to the channel if you like this content so far. Now, the target audience that I work with specifically as it relates to my executive coaching practice are women in leadership. However, much of the information I'm going to share with you, if you are not in that target audience, let's say for instance you are a woman that is not a leader just yet, maybe you are a man in leadership, I'm going to share with you some very universal strategies that will help you be able to speak under pressure. Now, as I mentioned, today we're going to focus in on what happened specifically, because many times when I'm working with my clients, they ask me, well, how do I learn how to speak under pressure? What do I do? How do I say it? When do I say it? It comes from that real world experience. You have to be in those settings to know how to navigate yourself. But one of the keys and one of the things I talk about on my channel is really how can we capture these real-time, real-life moments and learn from them so that we can communicate under pressure. So you want to take a look at these situations when they happen in real time, which is why I want to talk about this issue, this controversy that happened at the Miss Universe pageant in 2025. If you joined me yesterday live, we talked about what you missed as it relates to the controversy that happened with Nawat, which was the host of the Miss Universe pageant for 2025, and then also what Miss Mexico did. Now, yesterday I started with the fundamentals. The fundamentals being what do you need to do to be able to respond under pressure. If you want to learn more about that, watch the live. We went into a lot of detail there. There are certain things that you have to be able to pick up on quickly to know when you're under pressure so you know how to respond. So you definitely want to watch that. Now, before I go into what we're going to talk about today specifically, I want to say that if you're watching this portion of the video, you are watching the replay, friend, and I'm glad that you're here. If you give me just a few moments, let me say hello to everyone and greet them, and we'll talk a little bit more about speaking under pressure. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today. I am going to share with you how to speak under pressure, and specifically, we're going to learn some insights from the Miss Universe controversy that happened with Miss Mexico and the host named Nawat. So if you want to learn how to speak under pressure, then absolutely stay tuned on this video. Let me know where you all are joining from in the big, beautiful world today, and let me know if you've ever had any problems or struggled with communicating and speaking under pressure. Let me know in the comments below. Now, as I mentioned, if you watched the live yesterday, we went into this in detail in terms of what are those signs, what are things you need to look out for to determine when you are about to be placed under pressure in front of a group of people. We went into specifically what Nawat, which was the host, actually did that made that environment where we knew Miss Mexico was about to be under pressure. So you definitely want to watch the video to learn more about that. Now, today I'm going to go into, we already have an idea in terms of what we need to look out for, but what specifically, what are the two things that are most important that you need to do before you respond to someone that has put you under pressure? So we're going to talk about those two strategies today so that you have a good framework, a good set of go-to skills that you can do to be able to master this. Before I go into these strategies, let me say hello to a noob. Hello, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you are joining from today, friend. And have you ever struggled with speaking under pressure? Let me know in the comments below. All right, so we talked about a couple things from yesterday's live. Check it out. It is What You Missed is the name of the live. You definitely want to watch that to learn those very subtle cues that Nawat did to let Miss Mexico know he was about to put her under pressure in the conversation. When you are in those scenarios, when you have determined, okay, this conversation is not going in the positive direction, we are going to be struggling here potentially because someone is placing us under pressure, there's two things you need to do. The first strategy you need to do is you have to listen intently. Now, people talk about active listening and etc. When you first have those cues, and I mentioned we talked about it during our live yesterday, when you first notice these cues that someone is about to put you under pressure or they're about to start an argument or confrontation, you have to have a very, very heightened sense of your listening skills. Why do I say heightened sense? Because sometimes as leaders, we have so many things that are going on and we may not pick up on everything. We may not listen to what is actually being said. But when you first notice that someone is going to put you under pressure when you are speaking, your listening skills have to go up. I mean, they have to be very heightened. Everything that you are thinking about and processing in your mind needs to just go blank. Whether you are dealing with a fire as a leader or you're dealing with some project or something, some other issue going on, you have to be able to put all of that aside and you have to just zone in on what someone is saying to you. Because if you can intently listen to what someone is saying, especially when you feel like you're being under pressure, it will give you the opportunity to determine, are they really trying to put me under pressure? Are they really trying to put me on the spot? Are they trying to give me a hard time? Or is this simply the way that they communicate? It's critically important for you to do that. Now, before I go into my second strategy for you on this brief live, I want to say hello to Finnegan Malloy. Hello, welcome, friend. Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you are joining from today. And have you ever had a problem or hard time speaking under pressure as a leader? Let me know in the comments below. So we talked about listening, intently listening, zone everything out in your mind. It doesn't matter what you're doing for dinner that day or in the afternoon or whatever. If you feel the least little bit that someone is about to put you on the spot and put you under pressure, everything goes blank. You have to focus and listen intently on what they have to say, because you have to be able to respond and rebut if you need to in that conversation. And this is how you learn how to speak under pressure. All right, before we go into it, Pammy Kane 6925, welcome, friend. Hope you're doing well today. Pammy Kane 6925 says, good morning, have a nice day. Well, thank you, Pammy Kane. I hope you have an amazing day also. And if you like this content, feel free to subscribe to the channel to learn a lot more in terms of how you can communicate as a leader under pressure. All right, so we talked about that strategy. Okay, so one of the things that Miss Mexico did, and I appreciate the heart emojis, friends, when you look at the controversy that happened with Miss Mexico and the host, Nawat, she obviously listened very intently in terms of what he was saying. We talked about what he did to make the environment feel under pressure yesterday during our live. So if you want to pick up and know and master these subtle cues that people will do to indicate to you they're about to put you on the spot or put you under pressure, check out the live from yesterday that talks about what you missed. But Miss Mexico, in this particular interaction, she obviously listened very intently in terms of what was being said in order for her to respond the way that she did. Now, we'll talk more about her response probably a little later this evening when I go live, or this week for sure. But we'll talk about it, because one of the things I want to keep in mind and share with everyone is that these women that are in the Miss Universe pageant, these women are leaders. These are leaders. These women are leaders. And so it's always good, especially because that is my target audience, how we can showcase how we can support each other as leaders and be able to speak up when we're under pressure, because sometimes as women, we feel a bit timid to do so. Now, that's particularly for the women. There are men that are timid to speak under pressure too. And so anytime you see these scenarios come up, you don't necessarily have to say, oh, it's only specific this gender. Really, many people struggle with speaking up, especially under pressure. And so learning from the information I'm sharing with you on my channel and learning from these real-time, real-world situations that happen is the best way for you to step up as a leader and be able to speak under pressure, because a lot of people struggle with this. Now, I'm going to go into the next strategy here in just a moment. And that strategy is to observe. You have to not only listen intently to what someone is saying, when you feel like they're putting you under pressure, but you also have to observe what they're doing. Yesterday, we talked about this briefly. We talked about what Nawat was doing during his very aggressive, inappropriate comments he was making to Miss Mexico. What was he doing? If you all watched the live, you'll remember. If you didn't, I'm going to show you. His nonverbal gestures showed he was very dismissive of Miss Mexico. There was a lack of respect that he showed to her, not only verbally, but also in his nonverbal gestures too. Now, you want to pay attention to someone's nonverbal gestures because their nonverbal gestures will tell you what they are not willing to say. That's why you have to observe people very carefully, especially if you feel like you're being put under pressure. Now, what happened in the controversy with Miss Mexico and Nawat is Nawat, when he was talking to her, he was putting his hand down. He was constantly putting his hand down in this type of motion. If you look at some of the clips that they played of the interaction, he constantly put his hand down. This is a nonverbal gesture that indicates a certain amount of dismissiveness, like, I don't care. Basically, if I did that, oh, I don't care. So that is exactly what he was doing in that conversation. And this is the reason why, if you really want to master, truly master communicating and speaking under pressure, you have to pay attention to these subtle cues and use these strategies I'm sharing with you. Make sure that you are observing, intently observing what's happening. And then also, you also want to make sure that you are listening to what is being said. Now, if you want to learn more about this, feel free to subscribe to the channel. The fact that you clicked on this video, I know you're a special friend and you're supposed to be here. My videos are not catered to the average individual. These are individuals who are very seasoned communicators, exceptional leaders, and they're just trying to elevate how you communicate. So I will see you all in the live later this evening. We'll go more into how you can speak under pressure, and I hope you have a great day. Bye for now.